has started. We will now start the match. All right, again, this is a 5 against 5 on Gutenberg, RCO only. Looks like they're setting 3 versus 2 upper. So red team will have upper control. Remember that red team is known as Fiore province, whereas blue team is Ersaiv executioners. Ersaiv executioners such as the fort we use in Myth, known as the city as Ersaiv. That is team blue. And it seems like, again, red team, otherwise known as Fiore province, does have upper control. It's a 3v2 here, so as long as blue team holds, they should be fine. But again, mid control isn't doing so fine here. Mid won't be able to contribute to the crossfire if red's going to rush right now. Let's look what's happening at tunnel. Tunnel, it's a 2v1 in blue's favor here. Blue team has a 2v1 favor at tunnel side. Looks like diamond got drained at mid recently. Okay, now there's a play at upper. We want the balcony players to be crossfiring. Looks like they lost their chance to do so. Red's going to take over this fully. And unfortunately, Ice pushed up ahead of his team there. If he just stayed back a bit, then he would have survived with 1 health. So again, that looks like it was a decent 1-for-1 trade there. But currently, as we see it, red team is in the lead by 1 kill. So now let's see. Mid lane, we want to see how they contribute to the crossfire. So Diamond lost his opportunity to crossfire Savior. He might be wanting to look at Def upload in a moment, or if Savior goes back again. He's contesting Trick Cutter right now on the balcony over here. Again, it's still a 2v1 here, really passive here, so for whatever reason, they are not pushing here. Maybe they're waiting for Professor to hold 100 health, so it's 200 health against 100 health against Crypt, unless Diamond rotates to help with 2v2 there. So we really want to make sure that we keep this in mind when it comes to understanding what does red team want to do in this scenario, what does blue team want to do in this scenario. So far, it seems as if that play from red was quite successful, with the exception of Ice getting picked when he was on 1 health. If Ice didn't move up like that, then he would have survived on 1 health. That would mean red would be in the lead by 2 kills. Looks like Savior just got to pick on Ice again. Again, Ice does seem to be quite aggressive there, and unfortunately he got punished for that. Diamond just got eliminated from blue because remember, Professor and Chiquetta were looking for this 2v1 rush over here, and they did that, but now Professor's getting picked off here. Chiquetta's entering a 1v3 here. Can he escape without being drained or killed? He's open contesting against Crypt. He's 1 shot. He's 2 shot. Now he's 1 shot. Okay, almost. So now blue team has the lead here. They have upper control, but Savior is drained. He's 2 shot. He's about 20 health, approaching 20 health now. It looks like red has 2 people at cardboard and 1 at flag. Crypt is being suppressed right now. It's best he just heals. Diamond! Map awareness right here, getting crossfired by Chiquetta and Professor at tunnel side. Mid is crossfiring against cardboard. Upper's holding upper right now. And looks like Rectified got picked. Rectified got picked from flag, by flag. It seems as if map control is currently in the favor of blue team again. If you are rooting for a team, Fiore province is known as red team, and Ersaiv executioners is known as blue team. It looks like that red team is currently in the lead by 4 kills. Right now, the deaths don't matter too much. So far, everyone's died at least once. It's not like anyone's going to be out anytime soon. But at this rate, I wonder which side will determine the tempo of this fight. Will blue team continue to control upper as is? Because remember, Ice was pushing over here, red team. Red team was contesting upper and they had better up control at first. Looks like Death and Savior did the frog jump method on Gutenberg upper to do that rush. Broken, disconnected, but he's not in the match. That's fine. Okay, looks like Savior simply holding the line, draining cardboard. Won that trade against Rectified at cardboard. Somewhat even of a trade, but he won a bit more as Savior. Now Savior needs to defend against this rush, so Def and Savior will need to pick at the same time. The crossfire from Trickheader and Professor from balcony. If they get 1 hit in at least, that'll be fine. Okay, Savior and Death getting eliminated by Ice. Ice redeeming himself after his early aggression. Remember, Ice got picked at least 2 times when he could have helped it otherwise. Looks like Ice is pushing up to upper, but I doubt he could hold it unless he has more team support. UXJs from mid cannot open contest people at cardboard because it's too low health. Although Def is now 2 shots. Looks like it's a 2v2 and upper. It's really up to Crypto Knight and Diamond to impact upper, at least somewhat. Otherwise, it's up to Rectify and Ice to hold as best they can. Otherwise, they will be pushed out because both blue team and upper team are full health completely. They might want to consider rushing this before they heal even more. Otherwise, it's going to mean the difference between one extra bullet. They're trying to rush right now with a fraudulent trap, and now they're killing Rectify. UXJ was during rotation, but he's a bit too slow. Def is 1 shot. Can Savior clean up 2? Very nice from blue team there, clutching that. If we're looking at tunnel side, it's somewhat a bit passive. Duel needs to heal. Chiketa needs to heal. Chiketa cannot do evolve spawns from cardboard right now. Remember, this is cardboard. They're going up upper. 3 teams, 3 people going up upper. There's 2 mid. It's a 1v2. 1v2 a tunnel, balcony side. A lot of crossfire, focusing on mid. And balcony. There's a play happening there. There's a play happening upper. Ice tried to rush. He fell for it, and he died. It's a 2v1 against Rectified. Good. Death went in front of Savior to save his life. Because he has more health. Diamond tried to come back from that. Only hit Death once. Savior and Death are holding as best as they can. Chiketa best try to drain them at cardboard. It's a bit too late for that. He's focusing on the cross-side map play right now. Red team might want to push this soon. Because they are full health for the most part. Of course, balcony and mid want to cover for upper as best as they can despite being low health themselves. Savior and Def are on their own otherwise. It seems like Rectified and Ice are slightly hesitant. I'm not too sure what the synergy is like so far with those 2 players. Diamond's playing at mid/flag. Diamond is ready to crossfire upper. Diamond's ready to crossfire mid and balcony. Those are the 3 spots. He's also ready to rotate potentially if he needs to. Where is the next big play going to happen? It might be happening upper right now. So both teams are looking towards upper right now. Through these little cracks. Even if you're playing where Professor is, you could still see upper from here. But right now, you can only see them if they fall back. So it's really important that you have a mic player on upper to call for rotations coming from cardboard or flag or mid to go upper. That way you could get them at least 1 bullet here. Every bullet helps. Everybody bullet counts. Especially in such a competitive match like this. Now we're looking at upper control, and it's a 2v2. Unfortunately for them, red team got drained. Remember they were full health earlier? Well, look, Def's full health now, and he was 1 shot earlier. Remember that? They're going to do a fraudulent strat to do a rush. This is meta. This is meta if they do this. But Def did a wide peek there. There's a better way to fraud jump. If only Def knew or did it better. Yes, he does that. He stands there on his head. Just like if you're raiding at Port Mersk, Docks phase, want to stack Raptors or 3 people, you crouch. I know you can't crouch with RCO, but there's a way to fraud jump without running from the back to the front. If you do a certain scenario right here. So if you do that too much, you see how Def got drained. Now he cannot rush. Now they're focusing on cross-map plays because they're not going to be rushing this because blue team lost their advantage. It's somewhat even on upper now. Duel's 50 health. Professor Chiketa seem to be a good duo so far. They've been consistently playing on the side of the map. Chiketa's crossfiring right now because of the mics calling out red aggression. Blue got wiped. Now Rectified and Ice need to sit down. Be careful from the crossfire from Chiketa and Professor. And they got past. Rectified's playing back. Ice is just sitting down. Time to heal. Diamond, can he crossfire right now? Can he crossfire upper right now, even though he's 50 health? Every little bit helps. Let's see what he does. Diamond loses his opportunity a bit too late. He must have been looking somewhere else, or was not ready for that. It's usually best to pre-fire that if you cannot react in time. Now Ice is being pushed in. 2v1. Here's another 2v1. Blue team won that without any casualties. And now a huge flank against Diamond and against UXJ's and Crypt. Now UXJ's got drained. And now The whole team, the whole red team's looking at blue team now. They're looking at upper. They must be pretty mad now. There's 2 cardboard. There's 1 mid. There's 1 hut. There's 1 house. There's 1 balcony. 5 against 5. Let's see where this goes. So now we have Savior and Def. They want to heal. Watch out mid. Duel is there to punish. 1 for 1. 1 for 1 trade. As long as you're there to punish, a 1 for 1 trade could be decent. Unless your guy got eliminated. Now we gotta watch out cardboard. Can mid stop this? Mid was too aggressive, trying to help his team a bit too much at the cost of his own life. Savior entering a 1v1, now a 1v2. Almost got to pick on UXJs. Def needs to push up. Correct. Good. And now a good cleanup. A good cleanup. Nice. If Def could have got there a second earlier, perhaps Savior could have held the wall there, and Def would have just ran at them to prevent Savior from being rushed. Now Def has to be the one holding the line here. Seems to be 2 people house, 1 balcony. Now 2 balcony, 2 balcony, 1 house, 1 flag, 1 mid, 1 cardboard. It seems like blue has map control so far. They've been maintaining map control pretty well. I have never seen red team push all the way to the blue team house over here. Never seen them push all the way through hallway. Seems like red team do that against blue. Blue team has been the one to push them out more often than not. We want to look at which mid laner responds faster. Which mid laner has the better reflexes? Which mid laner could respond to the threat mid, upper, or balcony? That's really going to be the determination of this map. Gutenberg is really about those crossfires, even though these little pixel peaks. You see these little cracks here, where obviously Professor and Chaketa could see us over here. It's somewhat of a one-way angle favoring them if they were to counter a red team pushing up here. But it seems like red's not going to be obtaining upper anytime soon unless Def keeps over peaking like that. Very close from red team there, almost getting that pick on death. Seems like blue team's mid laner is losing a bit though. Diamond has some leverage here, but he needs to be watch out for Balcony, who's full health currently. It seems like there's 3 people focusing somewhat on Balcony side, tunnel side. Seems like now there's 2 mid laners versus 1. Let's see what's going to happen here. Is he here for a rotation? Is he here to sub? Are they going to be replacing people anytime soon? Rectified's already on 9 deaths, which is a bit surprising that it's been that volatile so far of a match. If you tend to be dying in a certain area that's more or less dangerous, an area that keeps being rushed, perhaps Rectified could sub out with someone else who's playing a more safe lane. This is something to keep in mind. Red team might want to swap soon. So far it seems as if red team is losing somewhat heavily, given that blue team has about 11 extra kills at this point, it seems like. Now 12. Now 11. That was a 1 for 1 trade. And Chaketa gets out cleanly. Remember, he had a lot of health. He was saving a lot of that health for a reason there, that balcony push, which otherwise could be really risky. But Crypt was not there in time to respond, and even if he was, Duel would have killed him with at least a 1v2 crossfire, not in his favor. Now, when you're in mid, it could be really annoying because there's all these angles you could get crossfired from, all these angles that need to be paying attention to. It could easily be 1v3'd right away. It's really important to keep that in mind. Crypt is essentially 2-shot, and is he going to be pushed? Will he be punished? Will Duel be punished? And looks like Duel got out cleanly, but it was really close there. Now, it seems like red, the longer that red loses map control, the more that they will be at a disadvantage in terms of their deaths. They will continue to keep dying because they lack that map control. Just like any RCO map, you really don't want to be playing from spawn. You really don't want to be losing that leverage. At least dominate one lane. Perhaps red could do a full team upper. Now they have upper control somewhat. At least they aren't being harassed anymore. And now do they want to do a rotation all the way to tunnel? Or do they want to focus on upper control or simply playing off of mistakes, playing this really slow? Whenever I have a losing team, for instance, I always encourage for my team to slow down the tempo of the game, slow down the pace of the game, slow it down. Make it so the enemy is impatient. That way they rush out of cover more often. They peek more often. You could counter this more often. And it seems like they could not hold upper because of them getting drained earlier. Diamond got picked from mid. Seems like they are pinched. This is a very common spot to be trapped at. Flag. If if you do not have upper, they have upper. First of all, red team does not want to be in this position for long. They are being squished right now. They are being focused on by multiple angles, as you could see. From upper, from mid, from tunnel. Now there's a tunnel play here. Everyone's shooting at Professor, but not many hits hit on him. A 2v1 here. Can Duel 2v1? No, Duel was not paying attention to there. He could have killed Rect. I might have disconnected. Let me see. Okay. We are still good to go. Unfortunately, Rect was able to punish Duel and Professor, which is good for Red Team, of course, because they do need that extra leverage. They really need to come back from this. Again, we keep talking about map control. It's really important for these matches, and it seems like at the start, just like the last match on Bricktops, it seems as if one team had early map control on upper first, and now blue team played it smart. They were able to fall jump as they rushed upper, and were able to counter the aggression of red. Early on, countering ice bullets and ensuring that he was punished for every push he made, drained right away. It's really bad to enter those 1v2 scenarios, even if it's technically a 2v2 close range. If you peek too much or too wide for that 1 second, it's really a 1v2 in their favor or your favor. And now, of course, it seems as if red is still spawn trap. The spawn trap is becoming much worse now. The spawn trap is growing. Seems like blue is trying to heal, especially from Professor, whereas Cardboard team is pushing now. Cardboard is pushing. And are they going to get some picks here? They're getting 2 picks, 3 picks. Rectified is out. Red team truly needs to come back from this. Right when they spawn, they need to push together right now. They need to push together, get a pick right away. They need to punish the aggression from blue team. They need to focus fire together. A very big problem from this match I've seen so far. People not focus firing, people not playing together. People running in one at a time, even after their teammate died. That's the worst thing you could do. It's really important to make sure that you maintain this tempo advantage you have. If you're a blue team, keep making them allow them to make mistakes. Whereas red team, you want to slow down the tempo of the game before it's too late. Because right now it's a bit too late for red, unless there's some miracle here. Red team had some attempts to punish blue team and their early aggression at upper, for instance, and how they were peeking wide at mid and tunnel. Red has never committed any pushes through tunnel, but blue has always kept abusing tunnel players and upper players one at a time. It seems as if everyone on the team is aware if they were pushing upper and everyone's going to focus fire on upper, or if there's going to be crossfire through balcony and mid. Blue team seemed to have a really good handle on that, and thankfully they picked Gutenberg because their synergy. And that's why it's most likely going to result in a victory for blue team here. Blue team also seemed to prepare earlier prior to the match, and they went over some strategies. Seems like they had good comms, and that'll be a quick match compared to the last time. This was more of a stomp, but still a good try from each side. I hope everyone enjoyed that match. I'm going to ask some questions now from each team. Just let's talk to the coaches quick. Stay here. Okay, everyone switch to main chat room. Okay, everyone switch to main chat room.
I'm gonna team everyone to spectators.
Okay, so just really quick before anyone leaves, I'd just like to talk a bit.
We got destroyed.
Well, let's talk about that because again, this type of tournament, it's a flyweight tournament, and it's more of an educational, informative tournament for you guys to improve. And I really want you guys to really learn from this experience, whether you won or lost. So I want to talk to each of the coaches. What were your perspectives on the match? What do you think went well for your team? What do you think could have been improved upon? Just anyone who wants to speak first on that, or any player.
I can't. Hugo can go. Hugo can go
Okay,
first.
Hugo, would you like to go first?
Um, Primarily, I put 3 on upper because I thought getting map control and getting upper was very important
Hmm.
until we overextended and just got cleared, and that's when the spawn trap started. And the
Right,
thing is, they just pushed down tunnel, and then we got crossfired, and then we just lost all of our map control. And basically, it was done from there.
right.
So I should probably have put like a one other person tunnel to just keep that map control and maintain it, while the other 2 upper just play passive and play safe.
What?
So
Right.
yeah,
So, just before the other team speaks here, although I wasn't in the voice comms to hear any of the team comms or the strategies, from what I saw and understood, I noticed that blue team at least, Ersaiv Executioners is blue team by the way, and it seems as if although they lost upper control early on, they were able to make a comeback. It seemed like they were focusing on crossfires. I really like the duo here. Professor and Chakota seem to work really well together, and they were crossfiring through this balcony crack, which is really annoying for people who are rushing upper on the other side. They were actually doing that, whereas this team, I don't really know if red team was taking advantage of that too much or if they were a bit too late. And also, if you're playing mid, not really abusing the off spawns at cardboard, trying to reinforce. The millionaire was typically too low to do that or take advantage, or being focused on balcony, mid, or upper. There's so many angles you can get peeked on. Even if you're going to be pushing balcony, which is pretty dangerous, you want to be. I think blue team nailed it when it came to their strategy. I'm assuming they're like, okay, we're going to focus on the upper place so everyone crossfire for that, or we're going to focus on the tunnel push now because they're weak here or they're outnumbered by at least one person. So that's at least my perspective when it came to spectating from above. That's what I noticed. But of course, blue team, what's your perspective regarding what I mentioned, or anything else you wanted to say regarding what I've mentioned?
All right, I will speak for my team first, and then Professor can speak if he has anything to add on. I believe that we did really well, despite the fact that like at first I kind of thought we would have lost, but like basically like we did lose upper at first. However, we were able to like make a comeback with our strategies, and I believe that the team chemistry was working was like flawlessly executed. Like everybody executed the orders flawlessly, and everybody followed what was said. However, one thing I want my team to improve on is awareness. Since I saw a guy push up balcony like right there,
Hmm.
and like he flanked the whole tunnel team. So like and like mid the knock crossfire. So I want my team to improve on that. However, other than that, the team chemistry was great. Everybody was communicating well, and I believe that we made flawless executions. If Professor has anything to add on, or anyone from my team, they can go ahead.
Another example for when awareness was weak was I remember at one point, like mid game, there was one player that straight down rushed mid, and we had a mid player and tunnel players and upper players,
Hmm.
and no one called it out
I saw
until
that.
that mid player killed the upper player who was deaf, I believe, from behind. And only then I realized because I was pushed up fully. But tunnel and mid had to be looking out for that because you guys are watching our backs. So that's all. That's just to back up Exo's point. There are multiple examples of when awareness is weak. So we got to communicate that better. But other than that, I think our team did really well. Strategy good, everything. Yeah.
I just want to say that the awareness did pick up towards the end, like mid game towards the end. It did pick up a lot more than at the start. I believe we were all just not warmed up yet, from my point of view. If if Professor has anything to say about his own team, he
Yeah,
can go ahead.
yeah. I personally would like to like commend Chiquetta and Duel on the tunnel because they were a huge help like following orders because I was kind of following and commanding tunnel a little bit um, and I didn't get to see much of Upper because that was a whole nother part of the team. But, like everyone else said, it was great chemistry, and you did very well. And I appreciate you guys.
Great work on sandwiching the other team, and I would like to say good work on like the flanks and such. So like, for example, Professor would bait the whole team, and like the whole other team, and like Duel would just flank them and like would get like 2 or 3 picks, which was really good cooperation. Like I would like to commend my team for their ability to listen and their great communication skills. Um, I have nothing else to say except for those good words. Great work.
I'd like to mention one more thing just as feedback for Red because they lost this match. It's really, first of all, everyone played well for the most part. I just want us to work more on refining our own skill and teamwork and actually thinking about what we're doing, not just going autopilot. So if you're going to be contesting upper, which again, Red, you dominated that early on. Just be careful, like ice bullets, you were a bit too aggressive here. Just try to stay behind cover and then let your team reinforce you. So that way, if you're one shot, you still survive. But nice try regarding that. Your aggression truly does pull off, especially in the Britops match. You did a lot of damage there, and you know you're making a lot of map impact. But of course, if you could help it, you want to make sure you don't die. And I'm saying this to other players too. Ice bullets tends to be one of the top damage dealers, or moderate to top. So he's doing really well. It's just more about preserving lives as well. And also to be that aggressive, you need to sacrifice some of your lives too. That's the downside. Um, just watch out because of coming off spawn from cardboard. Pay attention from mid and upper. You could get crossfired even from balcony a bit. If you're pushing up from this side, you could get crossfired that way too. People don't really pay attention to that. I'll take 1 or 2 more people to provide feedback or anything they wanted to say just before we end the stream. Whether that be someone else who hasn't spoken yet or
Well,
speaker. Go ahead.
just a question.
Sure.
For a second, I daydreamed when you were saying conserve lives,
Yes.
just like your last sentence. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so for instance, if you're playing at the back of the map, obviously you're going to preserve most of your lives, or like you're playing in a lane that's really passive, you're going to save those lives,
Yeah.
but eventually, because of that, you're going to need to trade out with another player who's on 10 deaths. And if you're playing aggressively, odds are you're typically more prone to dying because in order to get that much damage or that much kills on your team, you need to put yourself at risk more often. And if you put yourself at risk more often, if you could work on maintaining your life sustainability by just taking cover if you're like one shot, let your teammates push for you, let them rush the enemy that's trying to rush you, so that way you stay alive. You see what I mean? That way you survive with 1 health, and then you just sit there
Yeah.
unless it's clear, because you got to watch out if the mid guy's going to peek or balcony if they're actually looking for that. But again, both teams work on the map awareness because I don't like the top tier mid laners would have actually went from here to push mid to actually kill you 2-3 guys who are lower here early game, especially if there's not too much action over here, or they're like the mid laner's actually midway. He's not going to run here in time to counter the mid laner here. You know what I mean? So you just want to make sure that you have map awareness for this map and crossfires. Blue team was focused on one play at a time. That's why it was less complicated for them. That's why they most likely had that success. They were more organized in that sense. Okay, and of course, if Saltigrade's here, feel free to mention your perspective if you don't mind. Like, just any feedback you want for any of these people or what you saw, or this map in particular.
I literally joined at the last second.
Right, I saw that. That's fine.
But I really like Gutenberg. I think it's a lot better than Bricktop's. I saw the game that happened earlier on, and so like Boss mentioned, certain areas of the map are more dangerous than others. So at Bricktop's, tunnel is that volatile lane where there's lots of aggression, there's lots of damage being dealt. What happened in the game earlier was one of the people only had 1 life left, and that meant that any act of aggression they make would put that person at risk. And if he gets outed, then the game is lost. Meanwhile, there was someone at cave where there was no action going on, and they had around 7 or 8 lives to spare. It would have made a lot more sense to kind of rotate that person at cave when no action was going on, move him over to tunnel, because that really tied the hands of the team. Because if an opportunity to get some kills arose, in the back of their minds they think, well, if we take this opportunity, we might we might lose one of our team members. They might get kicked out of the game because they're on their last life. So I think, because I'm assuming the same thing happened this game, you just really have to look at your lives and see, where you can best spend them, essentially. That's all I have to say for now.
Yeah, that's really sound advice. Thank you.
I had a quick question for
Sure.
EXO.
Sure.
What was from, in your opinion, overall, like, more than not? I feel like we played more, like, aggressive more often than not. Like, what's your perspective on
From
that?
EE, again, if you're going to at the top level of a play, like let's say there's Gorge, or like on Gorge, it would probably be a 2v2 at Cave, and like a normal 6v6 or 8v8. Like, you guys had EE had a really good duo here at Tunnel. They had Chiketa and Professor, who, that's a good duo because these two players are playing off of each other with the crossfires. Chiketa had high health typically and was still crossfiring upper, and I didn't necessarily see that from the other team as much. So I think Chiketa was technically a bit better in regards to that as playing tunnel and balcony. He was quite flexible there. That's what this allowed your best fighters or your other best players to then focus on upper as a push, because you send your people up here and then you actually had someone reinforcing you, at least through a crossfire from this angle. You see that small little angle, but I know it's a small angle, but every bullet counts if you're going to land them. And even if it's one bullet on these guys, red team's going to lose here if they are being crossfired in front of them and from an angle, and even from mid. So you want to be watching out for that. I like how EE focused on upper push and then a tunnel push, and having one of their players being watched by at least two other players, which would allow for a play on the other side of the map and vice versa. It's really about abusing the enemy team's tunnel vision. If they're not prepared, you really want to have someone baiting. These guys are baits, and then, okay, upper will push. Okay, now you have this. If they're not paying attention, they forget about you. They peek wide over here. They go off spawn, they go greedy. They just run down mid, you're gonna die. If you have no map control, you need to take a different path. You can't just run down mid, you can't just run out of cover if they have upper control, which is the first step to a spawn trap on this map. First step, enemy team gets this portion, map control upper. Second step, they get enemy house over here. Then third step, upper people run down next to cardboard, and they're right here. And then they did the cardboard push, well, at least 3 people over here, to clean you guys up over here, and it was basically game over by that point. That's pretty much it. If there's anything else you'd like to ask or say, now's a good time. Otherwise, we'll be ending the stream, and we'll see if the next team's ready.
What's the next team?
Yeah,
So
like how long?
so let's talk about that. Let me stop the recording right now.